Good evening. Thanks for all attending tonight. We're going to get started. Time is with the working session. Starting time is 6 p.m. I haven't had anybody make a request on the Citizens Forum this evening, so with that, I think we will go right into the reports with the board committees, and we'll start with the Arena Committee.
We met with...
Yeah, she really doesn't want to do it. Yeah, we met with them, and it was kind of finalizing the user agreement, and that's in front of you. I don't know if the audience has it as well. It was after much work and gnashing of teeth, but I think we've hammered something out that suits both sides and fair and looks after the school and everything else. So I don't know if everyone's had a chance to look it over, if there's any...
I got it on computer. Anybody want my copy to look at? What do you got? I mean, you don't have to. Just if you're curious or if you want to look it over, well...
Should be a table copy somewhere. Somebody else gets a copy. Oh, that's right.
And this is something that had the user agreement is, like the name says, it's the user agreement for the school, between the school and the arena. And this is something that had to get completed before finalizing the purchase agreement, which still needs to be finalized. And so I don't know how much hashing out has to go on there, but any questions about the user agreement?
Couple changes from what went out. The board packet said draft on it, so I'll run through those changes just so everyone's aware of them. On the first page under number 1, the word lease was removed. Item number 9, the word arbitration was removed. Item number 10, we replaced space lease agreement with ice arena levy agreement. And I believe that was it. And those changes were made basically in the board packet. We sent out information on the letter that we sent in for the ice arena levy. And that letter indicates how that local levy is assessed. And part of the information also was the actual lease agreement. In statute, it cannot just be primarily for ice rental time. So the district has to have some meat in the game as far as operations and maintenance. And that's spelled out in that letter. That's all I have to add.
Any other questions or comments on that?
Like you guys were okay with it?
Painful process. I think for both sides, but yeah, I think everybody was very comfortable with it.
A lot of work went into it, and you guys did a good job. Everybody involved in both sides. Anything else on that? If not, we will...
Can I interject?
Sure.
Mr. Hazelton, do you have to leave early?
I would like to, if possible.
Can we move him up, and then we'll go back to the
You bet.
board?
You bet. Let us, we'll just jump ahead a little bit. We'll come back to the other committees, but we'll go with Activities Director Chad Hazelton. Give us an update and other things that are going on.
Okay, well, as updates go, we're winding down our winter season. Hockey finished up last week. Girls basketball has their first playoff game on Thursday, and boys basketball will start playoffs next Monday. So winter seasons are wrapping up. Spring seasons start in about 2 weeks. So the 12th of March will be the first day of practice for baseball, softball, and track, and golf will start on the 19th of March. So we barely get out of one season and we start another. We had our spring sports meeting tonight prior to this meeting. Wasn't as well attended as I would have liked, but that happens. So we're moving forward with the online registration. As people get more used to it, it's going to become more and more convenient for them. Once you get set up, and I went over it tonight, you just go log back in, verify your information, pick the sport, and pay. So the process is trimmed down to about 2 minutes. So that should be helpful as we get moving forward with it. Another thing that we have going on is let me back up. Jamie Lundsetter, the activities director at Grigla High School and principal down there, he penned a letter to their local newspaper. But before he sent it out to all of the activities directors in Region 8 and to the Region 8 secretary to get approval from the activities director and the region secretary. And what the letter does is it's just a general letter to the editor about how we need to be more supportive of our coaches and of our athletic programs in general. How they put a lot of time, a lot of effort. They've got to make tough decisions. At any one time, they'll probably only make a third of the people that they're involved with happy. And just to think a little bit about what they actually do and why they actually do what they do. Why do they actually coach? It's got some quotes in it from some different coaches in there about why they coach. And we talked and we put our support behind it, and we're going to put it in our local paper here, not this week, but next week. It's just well written, and I think, did you get that included?
Yes,
Yep.
you all have it.
So you all have a copy of it. And it's just a step to educate the public a little bit more as far as why people coach and how can we make their jobs easier. Because I coach and I have no idea why I coach, other than the love of the game, and I want to see kids learn through activities, learn through sports. So that's the main thing that we've got going on. There questions?
I think so.
Thanks for making it.
Yeah, thank you.
Things going on, so
All right.
I appreciate
One
that.
quick one, you see disappointing attendance at the spring meeting. It is pretty quick on the tail end of the winter, so maybe there's just that momentum
And-
shift that needs to take. But are you talking about kids or parents in terms of?
Parents
attendance?
mainly. We had quite a few kids there. Getting more parents. What I'd like to possibly do in the future for next year would be hold one general eligibility meeting and then archive it online for the winter and spring for people that can't attend that meeting in August. But the August meeting will be for all sports. So if you attend the August meeting for football, it carries over for basketball, for baseball, and then have the coaches set their individual seasonal meetings. So a basketball meeting may occur with the boys the first week in November, the girls may be the last week in October, but let the coaches set their individual meetings, and we have one general eligibility meeting, registration meeting that's archived online so that people that miss that meeting can then go in and watch that meeting. So that's something I'd like to look at for the future.
I guess, speaking as a parent with kids who will be doing spring sports, yeah, I didn't even know about it, so, sorry.
That's okay. It was kind of, not last minute, but it was kind of put on there because there's so much going on these last 2 weeks of the seasons. We've got boys basketball game tomorrow night. Wednesday's a terrible night to hold any type of a meeting. Thursday's girls playoffs. Friday's a bad night to hold meeting. Boys playoffs start on Monday. So it just kind of keeps snowballing from one thing to the next, especially this time of year. Like you said, there is such a short time in between the winter and spring seasons, especially if you go into the playoffs at all. So, all right.
Anything else? Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
And we will go back to the policy committee.
We met, and I think we're reviewing some of the policies this meeting.
We met and talked about policies.
Yeah. And we're going to meet again.
I think we have third reading for 2 policies and the first reading for 2 new policies that are in the packet.
Yeah, do you have things that changed in them? Nothing earth-shattering, controversial, anything like that, more formality?
Good. Good. Moving on, we will, I don't think the School Forest Committee met this month. I showed up, but there was no meeting. Right, Mr. Nelson and I were there. All right, with that, we will continue on with the superintendent, elementary principal, Mr. Nelson.
In your working session packet, you should have gotten an enrollment report. We're staying steady, down 1 at this point, so down to 456. School board appreciation certificates. I know it's not much, but we want to recognize all that you people do. It's not an easy position to be in. Before you leave, we need to get your picture so we can put a little article in the paper.
Cindy, just so you know, Nancy used to get us cookies. Just saying. I made pumpkin bars. Reed ate them all.
I only had half of theirs.
Thank you, Sharon. I will do that next week.
Actually, we could make up a bunch of things. Yeah, she also used to bring us drinks, too.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, we better bring cookies next month. Also, I've continued on, at least for another month, getting kind of the meetings and events outlined. I don't know if you have any questions. Policy coming up this week and that, so I'll try to update that, and if I have to make changes or update it, I'll try to make sure I remind you people and let you know so that you know when the meetings are happening. Backpack funding update, there's a whole bunch of resolutions that we'll be approving tonight. Quite a big bulk of them are for the backpack program. This month alone, we've received about $2,400 just for the backpack program. I think we're over 5,000, and that's big thanks to Cindy McDougall for sending out letters and taking care of that. So I feel much better than where we were in September as far as backpack sustainability. So thanks to Cindy and the local people that are in organizations and businesses that support that cause.
From year to year, is it, have we seen, are we growing or declining? Is there a trend?
It's been staying pretty steady. We serve about 30 families roughly. I think there's more in need, but those are the ones that are willing to take it at this time. So, and that's been pretty steady the last couple of years.
Well, Jeff, I have a question. Did the target funding used to
Yep. We used to get a steady
from the
couple
target
thousand a
percent
year
or
came
whatever?
from target
Uh-huh.
red card sales.
Yeah.
We ended that
Yeah.
about a year and a half ago. So, in your packet, you had some information on the Indian Education Program Plan. In the consent agenda, we're hiring Jennifer Manitowabi, Ojibwe Language and Culture Specialist for 10 hours a week for 12 weeks, and Lawrence Norwegian, Indian Education Coordinator for 10 hours per week for 12 weeks, and they currently work over at the Warroad District in their Indian Education Program. Our American Indian population is at 23 students, and there's significant funding once you hit that 20 student threshold. So we put together a grant, and I just got confirmation letter this evening from MDE. I know in the packet it said it was like 15,000 something. She called me today and said you need to put in the total amount. So it's actually a $20,000 grant, and that'll help us bring in some curriculum, some text, some field trips, and some regular classroom education Lawrence is also starting to work on some federal funding for our program. So that's an area that we're working to improve the programming for those students. And our focus this year is to bring cultural awareness to our students. This year, it'll be just the elementary primarily. What will qualify for more funding next year. And we have to get our parent advisory committee together. That's one of the stipulations that I talked to Jan down at MBE today. And that's something, again, that Lawrence will be coordinating for me. But once that's set up, October 1 is kind of when they look at their student population, and I believe we were at over 20 students. So the funding will be sustained one more year. And I anticipate those numbers to stay around that. I don't anticipate a large exodus, or I think those numbers will be consistent. Plus, we'll have some federal funding to augment that. So
Are we sharing them with World, or are they done there?
they're separate. They're individual contracts here that they'll be on employee for that time, and then they also work at.
Okay. So they didn't leave World.
They didn't leave World.
They're still there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We looked at partnering with World and just getting billed by World. They prefer that being separate. Makes it cleaner for the grant also.
Right.
That's all I have.
Very good, thank you.
Unless there's questions.
Anything else before we move on to the business office? Crystal Olson?
So as you guys saw, I've been working on the budget for this year and revising it. So we will be bringing a resolution to approve the revised budget for this fiscal year. It is a little different than it was previously approved. So now we're looking at our revenue at about $8,010,416. Our expenditures, $8,276,31 over all funds. So we will be looking at a deficit of about $265 this year, which previously it was adopted as a balanced budget more so. Some of the things that are causing the difference is there were a few items that were missed in the long-term facility maintenance, typo errors and the fresh water. We had
Pool levy.
the pool levy was a big one. We were showing basically for the revenue in the 01 fund as well in the 04 fund. We weren't showing that transfer out of the 01 fund. So those were some of the big items that are causing the deficit now. So
about 160,000 was counted twice, basically.
174,000, yes,
174,000.
was counted twice, unfortunately. So we have that taken care of though now, so it is in the budget. I feel confident with the numbers we are at now. Unfortunately, we are looking at a deficit spending the year again, but I'm confident with where the budget's at now. And then now the plan is to, if this gets approved, to move forward with fiscal year 19 budget. So do you guys have any questions on any of that?
I didn't understand all of it, in terms of the coding and the mishaps, and I guess it may be the wrong spot to get into how do we correct that. Where are we going to get the $240,000 or whatever it's going to take to balance that budget? I mean, that's not going to become a recurrent problem, obviously.
Right.
But, I mean, in terms of not getting the numbers right, but is the problem still there in that we have to figure out where we're going with in excess of $200,000?
Yes.
Well, we're going to work on the budget.
Yeah.
But
We're not going to know really, this is what we have for this year. Once I start working on next year's budget, getting the revenues in, getting, payroll, benefits, all that in, then we'll look at it from there to see where we sit for next year and if we have to make changes or not in areas within the
we are anticipating reductions.
Great. And that all has to happen before, I'm trying to think of my calendar, but June 1st, July 1st, when does the?
June 30th, you have to have your budget approved by, for the following year.
As far as staff.
March. We're hoping by next board meeting, we're gonna have a more definite plan as far as where we're gonna go next year, as far as if there's gonna be reductions or anything like that.
I want to say April or May for certified staff.
For certified staff.
Yeah, but our plan is to get ahead of the
Yes.
game on that. And
Other questions, comments, concerns? Thank you, Crystal. Moving on, we will go with high school principal, Mr. Novak.
And first of all, I'd like to say, Cindy, I ate 3 of your pumpkin bars, so you can't put all the blame on Regan. So, what I'd like to do tonight is just spend a few minutes on talking about how we do our registering for classes. In the Google Team Drive, I put a variety of resources, including all the different registration forms. But what I'd like to do is, okay, how do we go around and start? How do we get back to the beginning and how we determine on what we're going to offer? What we do is we started off with a core meeting. So I have each one of my departments has a department head, and then we have a variety of teachers. For example, Katie Haspargan represents the IT department, and Liz Tangy represents the Fine Arts department. And so we'll come together and we'll sit here at this table and we'll talk about some of the things, what worked well this year, what are some of the changes, what are the things that we can do. So we start that in December. And in January, we meet again and we fine-tune some of the different things that we want to offer. For example, one of the changes this year, Bob Lane, Mr. Lane, has always taught every other year AV Tech and accounting. Well, based upon the students' wants and needs, we never know if that class is going to fly or not. This last 2 years ago, we had 10 students in AV Tech, and we offered the class. This last year, when we registered, we only had 3 students, so we didn't offer the class. So each year is kind of a hit and miss. What we're going to do this year is that we're actually going to offer an Intro to Business Concepts class. So we're going to be able to take accounting, we're going to be able to take AV Tech, graphic designing, web page designing, public relations, and kind of moosh everything together in one concepts class for Introduction to Business. And so that we'll no longer offer accounting, we'll no longer offer AV Tech, because those 2 classes will be a part of a larger class. And I know we've got some students that are really, really excited about that, so they'll have all different aspects of business every year, and that will be a class we'll offer every single year. Plus, with that class, we had the opportunity to write a grant. So Wells Fargo had a $1,000 grant, so we wrote the grant for the Introduction to Business Concepts class, and so we got $1,000 that we're going to be able to use for that class. So some of the different changes also as far as registering, we used to bring all our students into the auditorium, and all the teachers that do electives are able to talk to all groups of students, 8th grade through 11th. What we're going to do, what we did this year, is make it a little more intentional. So for example, if you look at your student class registration timeline that I put in the student drive, Thursday, February 2nd, and then Friday, and then Monday, today, and tomorrow, we've met with individual groups of students, individual classes. Today we met with the juniors. So I had all my teachers that do elective classes come in and basically do their different talk for all the classes they offer to a smaller group. And that's much better. We've heard really, really good things as far as from the teachers and for the students. So it's a smaller scale, being able to ask a little bit more personal classes, what is a class like without, being in the auditorium and raising your hand and asking a question with 225 other students looking at you. So then what we're going to do is Thursday, March 1st, we'll have all the registration. For example, each group we meet, so for example, the yellow is grade 12. This is current 11th grade. Students will take this home. They'll be able to fill it out, get their parent's signature, and bring it back. This is current 10th grade and then current 9th grade. And we've got the 8th, and then we also have the 7th, and then the 6th graders. We'll do that later on because they don't really have a lot of electives. It's basically band, choir, or study hall that they choose. Students will bring the forms back. This Thursday we'll have our class meetings. So the class advisors with the students will sit down and go through the schedule and make sure all the different classes are appropriate. They'll sign off on it. We'll get the class forms back in the high school office, and then next week we will register for classes. So then next school board meeting, we should have a fairly definite idea on what classes we're going to offer, what classes the students want to take, and the ones that we may not be offering. So I'll have that for you next board meeting, just kind of some rough numbers. So that's kind of how we do the registration process. The classes are really driven by the students, especially the elective process, or the elective classes. Questions? Okay.
Very good.
I'd like you to mark your calendars. We are going to be having our scholarship awards night on Wednesday, May 16th. The seniors will go on their class trip on the 17th and 18th. And then we will have graduation, of course, on the 25th at 7 o'clock, that Friday night. And this school year has just flown by. We got 3 months left of school. So,
The reference to the scholarships, sometime the students are going to be told when for the local scholarships?
The Dollars for Scholars, yep, that will be happening here. I know the Dollars for Scholars Committee has already got up and running, and I would say within the next month and a half. It's usually sometime in March. It's usually mid-March, and then they have until usually the third week of April to get all their information in. But what we do is we bring the students, all the seniors, into the computer lab. We get them all up and running on that application process so they know exactly what they need to do and what they need to write and how long it takes, and then they just have to finish the process.
Time's flying.
Time's flying.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, thank you.
Moving on, we'll do buildings, grounds, and transportation with Reed McFarland.
All I have for transportation is we'll be getting our new bus here within the next 2 weeks, the one that we had ordered several months ago. And for buildings and grounds, really all I have to say is we never had that school force meeting. However, can you go over everything that we had? This Thursday we'll be having a meet. I wasn't at that meeting when we decided everything that would be, but it was ski together, so.
From 5 to 7, we're going to do a ski and snowshoe night for anybody, kids and adults, whoever. And the food is taken care of, I was told. And the skins and the furs are going to be on display too. So it's just kind of an open house and candlelight tea. But the structured time is 5 to 7.
And it'll be nice and warm.
It will be warm, yep. And we're going to meet at the gym, or that's kind of not this gym, the
Multi-purpose gym.
multi-purpose, by the walking track.
And AAA is providing food. I think I'm not sure what the cost is, but so it's a fundraiser for AAA.
Yep, it'll be sloppy joes and chips and juice.
Bring your own snowshoes?
There are going to be some available. The school has sets. We'll have those out, and then a few skis.
We have a few skis.
But yeah, bring your own. trails are groomed.
Yeah, trails are really nice shape right now, so.
And we'll have some trail maps and that sort of thing too.
We have a little bonfire about halfway around it.
Yeah, so if you make it there, you can warm yourself up. And
think
we'll
I'll send out
have
an
rescue equipment.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, so.
So other than that, I don't have anything.
Thank you, Reed. Moving on, community ed and food service, Cece?
Okay, first of all, Brent Cole wrote a grant and received $800 from Catholic Health Initiatives for the basketball program. And so that was really nice to receive that. We had a scrimmage this last Saturday with the 5th and 6th graders. We're having another scrimmage on March 1st. The school's going to be very busy on March 1st. The scrimmage is going to be like from 5 to 7, so hopefully maybe they'll be able to participate too. And then on March 3rd, we're going to be having, Brent has scheduled a 5th and 6th grade scrimmage. There'll be like 6 teams here, and that will go all day. And we'll be running concessions to try to get some more as a fundraiser. The TriStar Basketball Challenge is going to be on March 17th, and that's open to K through 8. All students, they didn't have to be in our basketball program. And that'll be kind of the culmination of the community of basketball. Ralph Christopherson will be doing a rod building class coming in March. So that's really very popular class. Ivy Olson is doing a quilting class in March. We have 3 young ladies now that are running 3 different fitness programs. Kathy Miner is running a yoga, and she's running that for 6 weeks. Emily Durkin is doing her Smash Fitness. That's another 6 weeks. And Courtney, Sharon, help me with that last name. Bratnick has offered, it's called Town, and it's actually copyrighted, so she's got certification. And it's a yoga class, and they use drumsticks. They're not really big, they're like the small. And I went and watched them on the end, it looks like it's really fun. It's very, very active. And they're in all these classes, there's around 20 in each class, between 10 and 12, but it's really neat to have all these young ladies step up and offer these classes. Andy Pearson is also doing his snowshoe class again this year. And I want to mention that the snowshoes that Community Ed received from the SHIP grant are the ones that they'll be using and we're using. That was one of the best things I think best grants we ever got, because the elementary kids were out today too with the snowshoes. Community be able to use them in the class, so it's really been and they've lasted, which is fine.
3rd graders are going to use them on Thursday. Also, we've got a bear den visit. Going to bring them out.
Right. It really was a phenomenal thing that we received. Okay, the next thing is the weight room. Now, Jeff had me send you some things, information on how we run the weight room program before. He also had me, and I'm sorry I didn't get that in. I just did that today. And because we run my programs with my reports are from July 1 of 2017, and I did it to the current date, and this is how many members and how much income that we've gotten monthly from the weight room. Did you get one, Jeff?
Yep, right here, Jeff. I brought one over there.
And unfortunately, I have been talking with, or emailing Larry Gukesberg from Roseau about his weight room. And we were emailing back and forth, and finally he said, "Cecil, just call you." And unfortunately, I told him, I said, if the only time you have available to call me is in the morning, I'm usually in the lunch line. So I had him call Brian. So Brian, know that because I actually talked to him. So he might give you some more information on that. And then if you have any questions after that, I'll pass him it on.
I spoke to Brian, and he can pipe in, but he has to come over here if he needs to. And I will get this out. I didn't get a chance to get this out. My understanding is Roseau doesn't charge a fee, and it's basically open, and they have a scheduled time that it's open to the general public. It's open like 5:30 to 7:30 in the morning, and then again from 3 to 9 in the afternoon. War Road, off their website, Ryan pulled off their schedule, and it's almost on the other end, where it's open from 4 to 5, and that's it. Looking at the fees that we charge and get, the problem with the fobs is we're charging fees and handing out fobs and signing people up, but we're finding that the fobs are borrowed and certain people are letting others in. There's kids getting in there when it's supposed to be adults. We don't bring in enough, I don't think, to actually justify hiring a supervisor. I don't know if we have staff to monitor the cameras and making sure everyone's behaving appropriately. So it's a concern, and I just want board direction or ideas on how we want to move forward with the weight room. Do we want to go open to the public and not even worry about charging fees? Do we want to continue with the fobs and the fees? Or do we want to kind of clamp it down and control the usage a little bit more?
What's our insurance liability if we open it to the public with no fees and keep it unlocked?
I don't think it would be something I could call Casey, but I don't think our liability would be any different whether we charge fees and open it.
Except there's more possibility of people getting in there that...
I think it's the same possibility if someone, because I think people are getting in regardless of the fobs or not. I think not always the people that paid the fees that are getting in.
You'd still have to supervise it, though, if you opened it to the public, right? You're still paying somebody to be in there.
No, not for public. We have supervision for the students, and that usually runs from 3:15 to 4:30. We do pay someone to supervise that time, but as far as adult use, it's kind of on your honor system. We don't have someone hired to supervise.
And when they're a member, they will sign a waiver, but when they're letting other people in, those people haven't signed waivers. So, there's the liability there. I mean, the ones that are in there have signed it, the ones that are getting in there haven't.
So right now, the structure is if you have a fob, you can go at any point and you have access to the school? Or
No, you can't go during the school day when it's used for FIAD classes. It's open in the morning?
Open in the morning, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5 o'clock when the pool is open. It closes at 7:30 in the morning. And it's open from 6 to 10 in the evenings, and then weekends.
When is the most time that this is being used? Early mornings or after 5 o'clock by
After it's evening, sir.
evenings?
Is there a problem with abuse at the current time? I mean,
I guess other than not everyone's paying.
They're not signing the waiver. That's the big thing. And I don't even know how that would be, but they're in there and they don't have permission to be in there. And they haven't signed it.
And so with this proposal now, you would open it up. They don't need to sign a waiver then. Is that?
I'm not sure how they do it over in Roseau, but it's open to the public.
Can you check with Casey on the liability issue of opening it up like that?
No. You probably have more liability when you charge a fee.
Well, and technically, I suppose those people who are using it without authorization are trespassing at that point. Not that you would prosecute or whatever, but I mean, it really is a trespass issue.
Yeah. So it is kind of a concern.
Yeah.
I'll check on the liability, but it's just to let you know that's how it's been being used, and I think probably most people use it appropriately, but,
It's always got to be someone who wrecks it for everyone else.
yeah.
But I guess I'm not, we'd still have similar hours under the new proposal. It'd just be open, but then
It
you
would
don't have
just
to
be,
pay anything.
you would not be charging anything.
So,
We would not be handing out bonds. Rules would be posted, I'm sure that's how they do it already. The waiver, I've never, usually signed waiver doesn't really serve that much of a purpose technically. Because it comes down to negligence, and a waiver doesn't protect you from negligence, so.
Most of our concern is unauthorized use, people
Yeah, my
that
concern is-
borrowing the
yeah,
fobs.
We kind of know what's happening, how much staff time do we want to spend looking at cameras and chasing people down, and is it worth the time and to be doing that during the day, or is it easier just to look at how it's a community building, and if we let it open to the general public, you know, I'm not sure what direction to go, that's what I'm doing.
Well,
You
and
can see-
the other concern is then, if there's no fobs, how about kids that are underage?
Even with the,
They're getting in now,
Yeah.
but would it be a free-for-all then? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, you'd have to, every once in a while, check cameras. You'd hear complaints from somebody, I assume, who was in there legitimately, and they have to follow that up. But in terms of, I'm looking at the money like you are, the $1,500 per year may not be worth the effort to try to keep it. Look on the bright side, maybe you're encouraging people to get in better shape.
Yeah.
Maybe more people do use it then, which, I don't know if there's people who don't come because of the cost or the fob problem.
I don't know if we'd have more using it, or something to contemplate. We're not going to put anything in place now immediately. We haven't changed anything, but
Mind you, with 7 members, you should be able to figure out pretty quick if it's a legitimate member or not in the weight room.
It's just how much time you want to spend looking at the cameras.
Yeah.
See who's in there.
When one of those members have an issue down there, who do they usually, who's their contact person? You? Okay. But there's a lot of time there, if they come in the evening, you're,
I'm here.
yeah, I know you're, but you might be some other place busy with,
And usually, I'm usually here till around 5 or 6 o'clock, but they can come in and they call, or they stop in too. It's not really the concerns of them, it's our concerns when they, and I tell them every time they come in, it's only for them, I'm not going to let anybody in. And there's quite a few, it's nice, it would be nice, and I think they probably have more. We have Wadena Tech kids that come over, which they need to work out, so it's been nice for them. There's guys on the power line, whatever, there's like 3 members that come from them too, so there's community members. Rainy River.
most of these people fairly long-term members, right? Are they aware of what some of the concerns we have? Would that help?
I've talked to a couple of them, yeah, and some of them were concerned with high school kids too.
Well, again, looking at February, you got 7 members in February, 12 in January, 6 in December, 11 in November, 7 in October, 7 in September. Again, it's pretty quick to figure out who's not a member.
well, not when you to look at reels of tape over weeks and stuff. That's.
How much policing am I supposed to do?
Assign a fine structure and slap somebody with $100 fine and time to look through it, and I bet nobody would do it again.
But it does take time to sit
It
in
would
front
be
of the
nice.
computer
And I'm concerned with the liability, and I'm concerned with high school students and all that, but the community would probably use it more, if it was open, so.
Ryan, you said you talked to Larry Lucasberg? You don't have to come to, I just.
Okay, yes, I
He
did.
nodded his head, said
Yep.
that was a good deal.
And actually, one of the things Roseau has is their high school, their public library is, their high school media center is their public library. And their fitness center, their weight room for their high school is their fitness center for the community. My concern, and as I listen to all this, my concern is for the high school students. The 7th grade on up. Right now, you have it open from 3:30 to 4:30, or 3:15 to 4:30. If your concern is for the under 7th grade, the 6th grade, the 5th grade, having the community go in with maybe 3rd graders or younger, you just have to have it so that if you close it down and have 5 to 9 at night, just have it for adults only, 18 and over. You can't be in there. You just have to be cautious if parents bring their young kids in there. That's the only concern.
But if they know that they're not allowed in there, age 12, right? Or at any
Right.
time after 5
Right,
o'clock is
right.
what you're saying.
And the reason we say 7th grade is they're part of our athletic teams.
Because Roseau is, people, I don't know, maybe the school building's open till 9 o'clock. Yeah, 9 o'clock at night. With people getting into the building and then having to run to the building, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Does Roseau, is it separated off? I mean, is there a separate access, or is it not an issue? Do people, or the door's unlocked right now till 9 o'clock anyway?
Here?
Yeah,
They're open till 10.
okay, then it's a moot
Yeah.
point.
For the most part, the Commons West is accessible. Usually the hallways, the classroom hallways, they're usually closed and locked. But now the public does have access, so. I guess to think about is, do we want to continue to charge a fee? Or do we want to go away from charging a fee, go away from messing with the fobs, post the rules, expectations, and just have it open to the general public?
Does Roseau have a supervisor or somebody permanently there? or is
I
it
asked
just-
Superintendent Lewisburg there, and he said, nope. He said, it is just, it's open to people, and we've got, people coming through there, and, the thing is, custodial staff, will probably have more people going through, you're gonna have more wear and tear and more cleanup, and it's gonna have to be closed down at a certain point, that you're gonna have to go in there and clean it. So if you had it open for our students to a certain point, and then have to close down and clean, and then open them back up for the community. Or you could open up from 3 o'clock or 3:15 on for everybody, whether they're a student or whether they're a community member.
No, you don't have community members in there, so you have the teams.
Something to think about. We're not in a hurry to change the system right now. Something to consider. In my mind, it's cleaner and easier if we just set the times and have it open to the public, and put the note if there's video surveillance, and not have to mess with the fobs. And if we get reports, we can always go to the camera if there's a 3rd grader in there, if we know the time and the date. That's how I'm leaning, but we are giving up the fee base, and we might increase the usage and might increase the cleaning. So that's what my thoughts are.
Are the cameras continuous or motion sensitive?
That one?
They are continuous. And you have about a 2.5 2.5 weeks to go back. So it's not like it's an overnight type thing. If you don't do it the next day, you're going to miss it.
So if you have thoughts, you can share them with me, and we'll compare them out for April when we're back in the board.
Because I just like know the liability if it
Yeah.
would increase our cost.
And I might call Larry too and see.
Question or comments?
Through this whole process, the years we've been going on with the arena, we're seeing in communities, like Bemidji is constructing all sports complexes. And it comes at a cost of, I think, $28 million. Well, obviously, we can't afford to build or sustain a complex like that. But what you're seeing with younger families is they do want this wellness lifestyle. And that was one of the things I know in our committee we talked about was selling activity passes for the school, thinking that it was going to be a charged thing. But if we promote it as open to the public, I think it's going to be attractive to families. And when families consider moving here, it's really going to be an advantage to us without having to invest in multi-million dollars into a strictly sports complex. If we use something like that, I think it would be a tremendous asset to the community.
Mm-hmm.
I know we talk about it and want to try to incorporate open skating for a period every night, so families could come in if the kids want to skate or even the adults want to skate, and some of the other members want to swim or use the weight room or use a court. They can all come in and exercise that night and whatever they want to do. So,
I think we're all in agreement that, I mean, the more use that we have, that we can get out of this facility for the community and the school and the arena and everybody, it's going to be.
well, and that's like we said, the school's got tremendous resources here as far as athletics. I mean, the more people that use them, I think it's that much better. So, to be able to offer it to our community is a great thing.
He's asking historical cups for cleaning the room on what.
Yeah, if I remember, I'm going to just throw something out here. And one of the things that I remember quite a few years back, was an open weight room. And there's a couple things that did come to mind, and Sharon, when you brought it up, was the insurance, that liability thing. But the other thing was we were having quite a bit of broken equipment in there. And that was before we had cameras. And I can see it. I can see having it more open and stuff. But along with that, we've got cameras, and now we really have to go after somebody when they break a piece of equipment. We can't just sweep it under the rug and say, oh, we'll work it off, or Bernie, you were a lot of the broken equipment in there, and it was happening at night. And, they weren't respecting the equipment. And I think that if you do have that open at night, I think it's good for the community, and I think it's a plus if you save money. And I don't have any problem with that, but when that piece of equipment's broke, somebody's got to fix it, and it can't always be absorbed by the school. And so that's I'm all for it. I would just say we really have to hit these people when they bust a piece of equipment. It goes to the sheriff's department. We want restitution. And send a strong message out there that we're not going to take screwing around in the weight room, because that's how it breaks. It doesn't break because somebody's lifting weights. And I'll talk with the custodians a little bit about that. See exactly what our extra costs would be on cleaning and stuff. It'd be my big concern.
Any other questions, concerns? Thank you. I believe that's the end of the working session. Anybody else comments, concerns out there? If not, we will end the working session at 6:55 p.m. Let's take just a couple minutes if you need to take a little break, and we will start with the regular meeting.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
What did you do last? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought he was going to do.
Ready.
Where do you want to take the picture?
Do you want to get the camera? Since he has a good camera? Or Georgie, so.
I can sure put my, yeah, it'll do just fine. Sure.
You mean that wall with the 5'10", 5'11", that thing?
You'll be in the front. You'll be in the front.
See that? It's summertime here?
Hmm?
You got your summer weight on.
It's the only weight I got.
Okay, sorry.
You'll be the only one up here without a certificate.
We're kneeling down. You've always been, right, we're gonna kneel down. I can send you.
I can't kneel down because if I do, I feel
Take one. There you go.
Yeah. There we go. Show up.
Let's get there, come on. Might as well have some fun with this. Hey, we gotta make it look like the school board actually has a sense of
Smile, boy, if you look at Okay, there you go. Wait. Woody, stand.
Woody's got 3 more.
a third picture in order to get everybody smiling correctly. And I get this little beep thing on the back of my, there we go. I got you all.
Thanks, Amy.
Now, if you want, you can go into the work for that pumpkin bar.
Is there one there?
There should be one there, right where you.
Like one?
I only had 3.
We only had 3. They were
I just had to give you the status.
Is it open?
Yeah,
Like this door?
yeah. Should be.
Did it?
Nobody ever harasses you. I think.
They were really good. Glad Brian came to my aid. I wasn't going to have any of them.
You weren't gonna have any?
I was going to go on this no sugar diet here.
Oh,
And I
really?
came here and seen the pumpkin bars. That's the first word came out of my mouth, nasty.
Oh, I didn't even hear that.
He said, I'll go on the diet tomorrow.
Yeah. Brian came here with one. Oh, they were awful. Then he grabbed another one. I didn't know he grabbed the third one.
He's hopped back in after. My came in to get another bite.
Yeah, they were good. The best. Never had a bad pumpkin bar in my life.
They're not my favorites in the evening. That's just my fault.
It's kind of like ice cream.
Yeah, never had a bad
Never had a bad ice cream either.
I have to ration ice cream, but I like a good brand of ice cream.
Blue Bunny?
No.
You know, Blue Bunny. Kemps.
Yes. I'd be a traitor if I didn't. That's easy.
Connoisseur of ice cream.
You know, I'll tell you what.
Hey, Brian, I've got, I think that I am going to, I was just thinking about umpiring junior high.
Okay. But it's their flavor ice cream isn't very good. We'll just plain vanilla. It's so
What do I need
Oh, there
to
was
do?
a
Bringing up
actually.
Yep.
You won that.
Now, we gotta get back up there with our certificates and.
Sharon did that.
Sharon did, yeah,
Okay.
she did clock and stuff. It's a real simple process.
Okay.
Yeah.
And usually, yeah.
You even get one
I'll get with Chad on
your
it.
hot coffee.
You know, this is something else.
And it sounded like you need a junior high, because you've got an association that you do work with the umpires?
Yep, for varsity.
Crystal candy.
What's that? For varsity, they come out of where someplace.
Yep. Here's something else for the waiver, is that
And it's homemade
you
pumpkin.
can
It's
still,
real
number one,
pumpkin.
even though it's open, you can have them come in
That's for Terry.
a roster. You can still decide plus. You can actually have them go through a.
What's that, nutmeg on top or cinnamon?
So that.
Cinnamon.
You can actually have
have a brown
Say the
bag.
first- let me see the first month we have it open. Hey, let's
Cream
have-
cheese
let's-
frosting.
Let's have people there.
Nice.
So they're monitoring it from 3 o'clock, maybe at 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. You start take turns and you're teaching people, hey, this is where this is at, this is where this is at. For the first month, the great things that you can also do places to the classes at night.
Yes, wait.
What was that?
This was for school board recognition week, or appreciation. It's supposed to be nice.
Which is actually last week.
We're always a day late.
They're good.
They are.
No, really, you have to try one.
I was just gonna say.
If anybody's gonna eat one, it better be
If you
you.
want to let me know and I'll send mine. Good deal.
I mean, after the way you came out of the corner fighting there, I'm thinking that even if you're allergic to pumpkin, you better start eating pumpkin.
I didn't weigh in. That was terrible. That was nasty.
Thank you.
Nasty. Couldn't keep up.
Yeah, and you are a glutton for punishment, I tell you. She will keep you on the straight and narrow.
We got it.
When's your mom coming out fishing, Fudge?
Already been here one time, short season. Mm-hmm.
She doing all right?
She's doing great. I was down, I've been going down there chasing colleges around,
Good part.
you know. I'm like,
Oh, yeah, how's that going?
Trees all got very.
We got it down, probably Gustavus, or of all the liberal arts stuff, private colleges there, but we got to go look at the University of Minnesota Morris.
Oh, nice. Is that within ag bent, or what's the thought there?
Huh?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, smaller school, liberal arts, kind of emphasis.
They have an ag emphasis there, don't they?
Um,
I mean, I know they do, because I've driven through the campus.
Oh,
They have
okay.
a lot of
Cows?
kind of outdoor stuff, yeah.
Okay,
I mean, not just that, but a lot of different farm type stuff.
okay. Oh, something in the STEM field, physics, maybe, I don't know, I keep,
He's a sharp kid.
I said if you don't make it in physics, it's like, there are other things below physics to conquer, or to,
But I'm just saying, he should have options when he's looking around. You're going to have more than one opportunity to go to a college.
yeah, yeah. Just, you get to those private schools, it's like buying a car. I had somebody at St. Olaf's, where it costs a lot of money to go, but they have lots of endowments, where they didn't offer us enough, and basically I'm talking with the person, and he says, what's it going to take to get him here? It was just like a car show. What's it going to take for you to? What do I have to do to have him come? And that was eye opening.
You've done that, you understand the initial look at the price is staggering when you start
Yeah.
comparing it to the state schools. But almost right out of the chute, if you're a capable kid with grades like your kid has and capabilities,
Yeah.
it goes to 50%. I mean, right out
Yep.
of the chute.
Yep,
And then
that-
they start, like you say, then they start whittling down. So it's really affordable.
Yeah, it's right up there with one of the U's. You know what it is. Yeah, let's. Okay, yeah, he's going. Hang on here just one. See, I lost my. I was all ready, and I got for obvious. Thank you, Jeff. You keep them. Let's continue on with the regular meeting, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Starting time is 7:04. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we will continue on with the approval of the agenda. And everybody should have a copy of that, I believe. That I need a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented with the following changes.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Kraft. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I make a motion by Philman. I'll make the second.
I'll
Any
second
fir-
that.
Second it. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. Any written communications? None, I don't think. Any other board presenters? Any old business that we need to take care of? No other business there. We will go right on to the new business. I need a motion and a second to approve the 2017-2019 ASME union contract.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis,
I'll second that.
second by Lyon. Any other further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to adopt the resolution of 2017-2018-08 to accept a donation of $3,717 donation from Whittel. I need a motion and a second.
I'd make a motion to accept that, thankfully.
Motion by Lyon.
I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2017-18-09 to accept a $1,000 donation from Border View Lodge for the backpack program.
I'll make that motion.
And I need a second.
Yep, I will second that.
Thank you very much. Any other further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. Next motion, to adopt the resolution 2017-18, dash 10, $100 donation from Badette Dental for the backpack program. I need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Johnson,
And I'll second that.
second by Lyon.
Yep.
Further discussion? Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Next motion is to approve the transfer of $1,384.02 from the general fund to food service fund to cover uncollectible lunch accounts. I need a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made, second.
Second.
Second by Johnson. Any further discussion?
I had a question on that. Is there a policy in place to prevent this, or is?
Well, these funds are actually for people who have moved out,
Yeah.
but I don't know if there is about moving people out, but there is a policy in place as far as,
Collection.
yeah.
What's happened is they moved out of the district and didn't leave a forwarding address. And I've sent letters, I've continued, every month they get a letter, and some of them have gone for 2 years, and the letters come back. So once they start coming back, I don't.
Yeah. No,
We've gone to collections on a few,
yeah.
and we're still working on the collection.
But I think what you're asking is, in
Yes.
general, we went through a lengthy process to get this organized, and this is sort of the final bad debt, right, that we're just understanding we can't get back. But we do have a policy in place now that confronts overdue debt very quickly, or tries to
And I
anyway.
think when I started, it was maybe the tail end of that discussion.
It does end up in a small claims court situation after, I think, 3 months or three requests for payment.
3 letters.
Yeah.
think the threshold for requesting payment is $200 or, don't know.
Some
Yes.
of these, yeah, some of them are not much, but it's
The
really.
500 are the ones that we took.
Oh, yeah, some of, the ones we took were like 700.
Over 500, I think. I don't know if it's going to be a continuing issue, in my opinion. And small claims is a lot of time and consuming, and we're still working on that.
And Deb Anderson and Diane Lane are really good at when, if they know when the family's leaving, they'll come in and they sign a form and they'll get their address, their forwarding address. And, you know, I said to that, but a lot of it ignored, so I don't know how else.
And do the robocalling. What I've seen from some other communities is actually donations to help families pay. And that might be our next direction, kind of like the backpack program type thing. But there's pros and cons to that, and there's things that bother people about something like that. But I think there are some families that don't qualify or that are struggling, that I could see that would benefit them. We've had some people actually donate money and say, wow, this towards so-and-so, towards a lunch that's unpaid.
That's been a statewide occurrence. I mean, many school districts have the same thing, have anonymous folks or somebody comes forward with that and
And actually, when last year we started taking to court, we had a lot more free reduced applications.
You had what?
A lot more free reduced applications.
You did?
That showed up because of that, so I think that helped. Because, you know, a couple years ago, we were getting down on our applications, but because of that, we did get more applications.
Did you ever contact the community foundation at all? That's
Oh, you mean, over at the hospital? We haven't done that.
I just say that because I know, you know, they're there to.
As far as the unpaid.
That would probably be something that could be written for a grant.
Yeah.
And then there again, to whose account to apply it to, that would be kind of account, but that's a good idea.
So we're working on it, we're making progress, but it continues to be.
Yeah, and it will, I mean,
I don't think it'll ever go away, but.
Any other discussion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. I need a motion and a second to adopt the resolution 2017-18-11 to accept and revise the amended budget for fiscal year 18.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Johnson,
I'll second it.
a second. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. I need a motion and a second to approve the third reading of policy 203-2, order of the regular school board meeting, and policy 203-5, school board meeting agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made. Second. I'll make this second. Other further discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. I need a motion and a second to approve the first reading of policy 206.2, public participation in school board meetings / complaints about persons at school board meetings and data privacy considerations, and policy number 208, development, adoption, and implementation of policies. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Johnson, a second by Lyon. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2017-18-12 to accept a $200 donation from Border State Bank for the backpack program.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
And second, further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2017-18/13 to accept a $100 donation from Alice's Family Restaurant for the backpack program. I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Second by Lyon. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2017-18-14 to accept the $750 donation from the Badette Rotary for the backpack program.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis.
Second.
Second by Johnson. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 17-18-15 to accept a $250 donation from the Moose Lodge for the backpack program. I'll make the motion.
I will second it.
Second by Lyon. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to adopt the Resolution 2017-18-16 to accept a $100 donation from Bethlehem Lutheran Women's Missionary League.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Johnson, second by Burcham. I make the motion. Second. All in favor signify, any further discussion? I'm sorry.
I'd just like to say that we went through a bunch of those.
Mhm.
I enjoy the fact that I live in Badette when things like that get responded. We had a need, and the community addressed it without really too much bloodletting. You know, nice group of people out there if they get the chance to do it.
I think that's been a good program. I read a couple of the letters that we got, and where the folks were saying, we get a lot of, requests for donations, but the backpack program was their number one this year. I called them and thanked them even. It was been a good program, and I think the community's been supportive of it very much.
What's the dollar amount on that, please?
The last one?
Correct.
$100 from Bethlehem Lutheran Women's Missionary League.
Thank you very much.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Last item, I need a motion and a second to approve the user agreement with the International Arena Board.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made. Second.
I'll second that.
Second by Lyon. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. Any other business that we need to attend to?
I just have one thing. I want to thank Nyla. I see her resignation is, how long has she been here?
30 years, she said in the letter.
Yeah, I don't want to
4 years.
let that bypass without the board
Thank you.
telling her thank you, and
Absolutely.
she's excellent. She's done a great job for us, so.
Excellent.
Same with the coaches, too. We've got Kurt Storbeck retiring, resigning as the boys track coach. He did that for a number of years. Diana Fish for cross country. I know Gabriel enjoyed having her as the coach, and Marla Carlson is for the varsity and softball. Yep. So, thank you to those people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's one of the downsides of the consent agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to struggle through that a little bit.
Yeah,
Figure that out.
good point.
Instead of just saying the consent agenda, read through them before we make the motion or something, so that we can at least acknowledge it.
Or when there's discussion on the consent thing, we can probably look at that.
Or you can do something like
The people
that
watching the
portion
video
of the
in
consent
their homes
agenda,
can enjoy
the resignations and retirements.
I think it's-
The consent agenda.
Right, yeah.
Comment from the back.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The people that are,
live, correct?
Correct.
No, it's not
So
live
if you
anymore,
read
it's a
through
tape.
that, then they're gonna know what you're talking about. Otherwise, you're reading that consent, I'm sitting here and I can see everything that's on there, but they can't. Not that they're gonna phone in and comment, but
Yeah.
But
they might appreciate, maybe they will call one of you as soon as this meeting's over because of something that's on there or whatever.
and we certainly want to recognize those people, no doubt.
Because there are people watching.
I don't think it's live anymore, though. Is it,
No,
Jeff?
It'll be digital though.
You can tape
But
it.
either way.
Yeah,
right, that's
yeah.
not
I just wanted to let you know that in case you thought it was
Okay,
live.
But yeah, if they, if you just read consent, whatever, they don't see
That's a
all
good
of that.
idea.
And somebody might have a comment for one.
I assume there's a retirement party too at some point, you
It
know.
would be more transparent.
30
We
years
made
is
it
a long
work this
time in
time.
school, one school, isn't it? How long have you been here?
Me?
22? Seems like 30 though, doesn't it?
Thank you, Sharon. Good point. Any other business? If not, we're going to close the regular school board meeting at 7:22 PM. Thank you for all for joining us.